Well, before I sought the face of the Lord and decided ultimately that I would want to serve my people and serve my country, Nigeria, as a senator of the Federal Republic, I took time to find out what it is really that a senator does. And my understanding of the role of a senator, especially of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I have chosen to categorize into three main areas. The first area has to do with legislation. And under that, I have two key areas that I opt to look into, that I have studied and observed that is, or those are the things that a senator will be required to do. One, to make laws, and two, to amend those laws later, and of necessity, if it comes to a major amendment, it becomes a constitutional amendment. So the senator would pass bills and make sure that the bills become laws, and then would also be involved in constitutional amendments. The second part has to do with oversight functions. And when you are talking of oversight functions, I have four areas of focus that I have observed that a senator will be required to do. So if I add those four to the earlier two, it will become six. So let's listen to those four now. In oversight functions, the legislators must make sure that they have oversight of ministries, monitor what ministries and departments of governments are doing, so that they will be sure that everything they are doing would have to do with what had earlier been approved for them. Therefore, of necessity, the second aspect there will be actually the approval of budgets for those ministries. They need to be sure that appropriation bills become appropriation laws, that therefore will be what governments will run with. Then after that, there would, part of oversight functions would be approval also of appointments, so that you want to be a minister of the Federal Republic, you want to hold certain key offices in the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The senators are involved in making sure they interview such people, find out about their lifestyles, seek to know whether they are fit for those offices, and therefore approve their appointments. And then the last one there, which will be the fourth one, therefore the sixth overall now, will be the investigation, the oversight function of investigation. In committees, maybe little committees or committees of the whole, senators are required to investigate and find out what is happening in the area of security, what is happening in the area of the economy, what is happening in the area of the environment, critical issues arising in any aspect of the lives of the people. Senators are required to investigate. And then the last but not the least, in fact, perhaps to me the most important, will be the issue of representation. Okay? And in representation, because you are a senator, you are representing your people. And if you are going to be a good representative of your people, you ought to have been living amongst them, perhaps born and bred in their midst. You need to understand their language very well. For instance, you want to represent the people of Osun Central Senatorial District in the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You must be able to understand Yoruba language very, very well. You must be able to understand even the body language, unspoken words of the people, to know what their aspirations are, what their desires are. And you must also be able to speak fluently the language that will be spoken in the red chambers, the floor of the Senate. You must be able to speak in very fluent English language. So by the time you think of all of these roles that a senator would have to be involved in, let me start from the rear now: the representation, the investigation, the approval of budgets, approval of people that would come into government, oversight of ministries and parastatals and departments of government, and then making of the laws and constitutional amendments. Then you have to be one that is intelligent, brilliant, articulate, one that is patient enough to listen and read both the lips and the body languages of the people and be able to interpret such when you get to the floor of the Senate. I believe that I am the best packaged for that role right now. I have studied those that also seek to occupy that office right now. And with all sense of humility, I, Goke Omigbodun, as presented by the Social Democratic Party, SDP, I believe, I trust, I know that God will back me up. Not only will I win the election, by the grace of God, I'm going to represent you well in the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.